here we are, guys. Time for another go at the old office. So basically, what I'm going to want to do now is remove this bracket from underneath the desktop. However, as you see here, she is held on with bolts, you know, there and there. I was able to get that nut there off the bolt, but this one back here is spinning. And I can't put a wrench on the top side of it because, well, the desktop material is covering the hole. And as you guys seen in the original series there, I actually countersunk it and then filled the hole once the bolt was in there. So in order for me to put a wrench on the top of the bolt, I'd have to cut a hole in the desktop material, dig out all that filler just to do it. So I don't really want to ruin my desktop material as of yet. So what I'm going to probably end up doing is pulling off this trim and basically running my Sawzall just right along the bracket, between the bracket and the wood, cutting the bolts, and basically then you undo those two screws and then the bracket would be freed. So let's run out our cord and get the Sawzall plugged in, take our hammer, knock that little trim piece off, and see what we're dealing with. Okay, so when you're removing moldings, you know, door trim, stuff like that, try to be careful not to, you know, damage them, because sometimes they're hard to replace, especially if they're, you know, an older house or even a newer home. Sometimes you don't carry them anymore, you know, at your local home improvement store, and they're a little hard to match, right? But in this case, these are only a couple of years old. These are just common little, you know, flat stock moldings. You can get them pretty much anywhere. So it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to try to remove my best I can. Probably end up, I'll damage it at this corner here because I do have nails that go through, you know, this corner to get her all in there. But we'll cross that when we get here. Eventually, I want to pull all of it off anyway, the whole desktop, to redo it and make it a little bit more stronger. So of course we'll start at the far end. Sometimes it lets go, depends on what kind of nails you use, and other times you gotta fight it. So I'll get you another angle so I can get a better swing with the hammer without busting the camera, and then we'll get at her. Sometimes you can use a bit of a pry bar with this if you want. Flat screwdriver, pretty much anything you have close by to use. Feeling that? If you got strength in your hands, just use your hands. Now of course I did damage it here at the end, but that's no biggie. Now of course we have brad nails kind of throughout, as well as the silicone I used to you know, seal it up with. And we'll remove all that before we continue on, because we don't want to be snagging ourselves on anything and cutting ourselves open. I might end up removing this piece too, because it's probably going to end up being in my way. So I'll clean all that up, guys, and then we'll probably start our cuts along there. Okay guys, so of course the Sawzall's all geared up, all ready to go. So the object of this is not to cut the bracket and not to damage the desktop at all, or you know, much if any. I should be okay, being there's like a ½ inch or so of cedar shims underneath there. I can do most of my damage between the metal bracket and the shims and stay right away from the desktop. And basically when I hit the bolt, it'll cut through it, and then when I hit the a secondary bolt, it'll should cut through it as well. The blade I'm using is a demolition style blade. It'll handle nails, bolts, flashing shingles, wood, metal, light gauge metal, and all sorts of goodies. I've had this blade for a while now, and I have yet to kill it. So pretty much, guys, here we go. Okay guys, so here we go. We got the bracket off without damaging the wall, other than the screw holes in the wall. Which, if I wasn't putting another bracket in right over top of those, I would fill those and give them a paint. However, there's going to be another bracket going in just about 5/8 of an inch or so lower than that one there. And the desktop came out fairly well. This one bolt gave a little bit of grief, ended up pulling through, but hey, that's nothing that can't be handled. Being the bolts are out of there now, we'll have to see how it goes. I might end up drilling through the top of the desktop material here and putting bolts in over top of it, but I'm not sure if I really want to go that way or not. It'll cut down on the smooth, sleek kind of appearance if I did that, but like I said, we'll cross that one when we come to the decision. So what I'm going to do is get set up here for measurements for the brackets that are going out, outriggers there. And once I'm all set up, then we'll start mounting the brackets to the wall. Okay guys, so here we go. I got busy working here, of course, but got that bracket there put back on the wall. And then what I did is I ran my level all the way across the wall to get a straight edge, put this bracket in, clamped my level to the brackets, therefore basically creating a straight line along the wall to put the other two remaining desktop brackets on. As you see there, the bubble's pretty much on level, about as on level as she's going to get. And what we'll do now is we'll slide one of the large brackets up into there, and being I'm putting a filing cabinet right there, the last time I did this, I had large brackets for behind the filing cabinet, and being they were larger, they put the filing cabinet out a little bit too far. So this time around, I got me a short bracket that I will put there. It won't quite be as strong as the other brackets, but when you consider the other brackets are rated for 200 pounds a bracket, a smaller bracket will hold enough weight. So we'll get mounting these on the wall here, guys, and keep on going. So of course, guys, kind of do the eyeballing up there first, make sure everything's lined up where you want her. Take your handy dandy drill, make sure she's got juice behind her. I know the last time I did this, I did a combination of battery and electric power, and I found that the electric worked best, but you're fighting with the cord. So this time I'm using strictly battery, and it seems to be working out. So we'll hold up the bracket, getting her about where we want her, centered in the opening of the wall. And once she's lined up with the level, if you will, we'll run our first screw in. Okay, so now we got the first screw pretty close to being started, and in the wall we can finish running her in, watching the mark you made in the top hole to make sure she's good. And of course, using the square edge of the level, we will run in the top screw here. Then once the top one's run in, we can tighten up the bottom one. If you tighten up the bottom one first, it'll pull a bracket down, so you have like a bit of a space at the top, which then of course will result in you having to shim your brackets. So next one here is to move on to this middle one here, putting us a bracket in here. We're going to use the short bracket for this one. So I'll get that one mounted, guys, and then I'll show you the difference in length overall. Okay guys, so there we go. We have all the brackets on the wall now. We got the two larger ones on the end, the short guy in the middle, if you will, and then the original bracket there on put back in place, just of course a little bit further down to accommodate the new desktop material that's going to go in underneath of it. So this bracket here that I put in over top, the filing cabinet is actually about 15.5 inches long. I believe they call out a 16-inch bracket. These large guys that go in are 19 long. I believe they're called a 20-inch bracket. So of course the large ones are 13 inches down. And the little guys there are only about 10 inches down. And of course on the writing here, this camera's probably not going to really focus, but it says 16-inch industrial bracket. It doesn't really give you a weight per se rating, but these old ones that I bought here a couple of years ago, they call them a 20-inch bracket, and it says they're rated for 200 pounds per bracket. So if I could put 200 pounds on this desktop per bracket, then yeah, that's a lot of weight up here. I know, granted, yeah, I got a couple of computer systems and you know, unboxing videos and stuff like that going on, but when you got ample brackets going on up here, they do displace the weight enough that you shouldn't have much for issues. So guys, I'm just looking at the desktop here, just trying to decide if I want to carry on with the elbow to come back this way, or if I want to kind of end her there. Really, when you think about how much use I'm going to get out of that last little bit of 2 feet there, and how much hassle it's going to be to round that corner, I think what I'm going to do is just make a straight desktop in that corner and not worry about that little, you know, turnabout. I would have put the filing cabinet in the corner, except for one, it covers the plug-in, and two, what'll happen when it covers the plug-in is it'll cover the register too, and unfortunately to relocate the register is not acceptable at the moment. I could relocate the filing cabinet to over here underneath the TV in the original workstation, but I kind of like having the centralized work area between the desktop computer and the laptop, and what will be over here would be the printer. So maybe in time I will get a secondary desktop, but right now the laptop and desktop are doing sort of what I need, but we'll cross that when we get to that point. So guys, pretty much we'll do a little bit of a cleanup here. We'll throw ourselves a measurement for the desktop there. We'll give her a cut and we'll lay it in place and then start drilling our holes to fasten her down. Okay guys, so here we are. We're all set up outside, of course, on our wonderful minus 33 Celsius day. Gonna make ourselves a couple cuts here for the old desktop. The one piece you're watching right now, we're going to be doing the cuts for the main desktop, and then we'll take our table saw and we'll cut up, and then we'll take our table saw and we'll set up to do the a couple more cuts for a couple little support pieces. So we made the cut for the desktop now, and we'll dig out the old table saw and make our cuts there for the support pieces. Well guys, here we go. Took advantage of the sunlight, of course, during high noon to cut the boards and the wood and the desktop material I needed to cut. So of course, got all that cut. And of course now it's cooled on back down, so I don't have to do any cutting now in the dark, so that's pretty sweet. So of course, here we got our brackets and that all laid out. We got the old desktop we got to join up to. Basically, I'm not going to be able to join it up, you know, button against it. So the new desktop is going to slide, you know, basically underneath of it here, and you know, kind of made up that way. It'll be a step down desktop, but You know, there's not much else you can do unless you're wanting to cut it back further and make it, you know, either way you're going to end up having a join, and quite often you're going to end up you know, with a bigger mess. So this is kind of the simplest and the easiest way out of all solutions, and kind of away she goes. So picking the best side of your desktop material, your plywood. You don't want a lot of knots or blemishes that you're going to have to putty or fill. Basically taking the material, and now you got the fun task of putting her in place. Now it would be easy if I had a hand doing this, but unfortunately sometimes some jobs you have to do alone. So basically you're just lining her up, making sure she mates up with the brackets the way she's supposed to, and pretty much she'll slide right into place, especially if all your measurements were you know, pretty close to being right on. Now of course right here, as you notice, is a tiny little gap, and it looks like she would mate up. However, what I've done to account for the trim moldings is I've actually spaced this desktop that we're adding 5/8 of an inch lower than the existing desktop. So pretty much what we're going to do, rough idea here of course, is slide a piece of 5/8 plywood. In fact, this is probably a piece of the original 5/8 plywood from you know, the project a few years ago. And of course that's going to space it and make it level, square, plumb, true, whatever you want to call her. And then what I'll do is I cut a little bit there to fill that little tiny gap there, just to kind of tie it all together. I know it's going to kind of look weird. It's going to make for a little bit of a thicker molding right there, but I think we can overcome that. Rather than using screws or nails, what I'm going to use is construction adhesive, the old PL 400. It's virtually the same as PL Premium, especially for this application, except it's like a couple of dollars cheaper. So hey, why not save a couple of bucks, buy yourself a coffee, instead of buying something that has extra features that you're probably never going to need for this project. So what I'll do, guys, is to get my chop saw in, make a cut on that board just to lop off that ear that's sticking out. And then basically we can square up the desktop with you know, the brackets and all that, going all the way down the line here. And then we'll take advantage, of course, while we have the drill to drill and mark our holes for the bolts that'll go through. Then we'll slide the plywood back out, drill our holes, slide her back in, and I guess basically fasten her on down. So we'll get out of here, guys, and see how she turns out.